Coming up next from Covenant House of Praise.
And all things work together for good. No, you ain't seen the good, eh? You can't see it. But when God is in control of your life, you can see that, and all things work together for good to those who love the Lord, those who are the called. Is those people, eh?
Covenant House of Praise, the place where God orders and secures His blessing.
Let's get to the word. Today we are in the book of Esther. Esther chapter 4, verse 14. For those of you who don't know, Esther is a book in the Bible. Comes after Nehemiah. There are two scriptures I'm going to use. It's Esther chapter 4 verse 14 and Matthew chapter 16 verse 24. But I'll start with Esther chapter 4 verse 14. For if thou altogether holdest thy peace at this time, then shall there enlargement and deliverance arise to the Jews from another place. But thou and thy father's house shall be destroyed. And who knoweth whether thou art come to the kingdom for such a time as this? And this is where I want to dwell on today, this part. And who knoweth whether thou art come to the kingdom for such a time as this? The book of Esther tells the story of a woman who is beautiful both inside and out. Mordecai, an older cousin, takes her under his wing in her early years. In a sense, he becomes her mentor. As a gorgeous young Jewish woman, Esther is chosen to replace Queen Vashti, or Vashti, as the consort of King Xerxes. She marries into the royal family and over the years deepens her influence. Esther's life speaks of an ordinary person who fulfills an extraordinary challenge in an unlikely context. She's a Jew in a foreign land, a woman in a male-dominated world, a minority within a minority. But God raised her up at exactly the right time. And today, while I speak about Esther, while she's a woman, this lesson is not just for women. It is for those of us who feel that, who am I? I'm just a little person sitting down right now in Covenant House of Praise. Sister John probably don't even know me, but God knows you. And that's the key thing. As long as God knows you, that's it. For those of you who don't know this lesson, I will not go through the whole thing. It will be a nice assignment to go home and read the book of Esther. It's a short chapter, a short book. It will be good to read it. Queen Esther took over Queen Vashti's position. But she was not really from royal family. You know, usually kings marry, people of royal and so on. And you have, yes, those who sometimes don't. And here it was, Esther was being prepared. In those days, things are different. In those days, those young women, to be chosen to be a queen, had to be prepared and so on and so on. And I think in our times, what would be nice if, for those of you who want to get married and you're not married yet, start preparing. For the young ladies especially, start cleaning out your room, because you will have a whole house to clean eventually. So learn to clean your room. I met some young women sometimes and they tell me, Sister John, I ain't cooking now. I getting a maid. Let me tell you something about men. They like the belly. You better learn how to cook. Learn how to cook, women. Young women. Some women, people getting married, you want the bling and the everything and a new dress every week and the shoes to match. I remember while I was married, there was a time I had 2 dresses. One I wear this Sunday, one I wear the next Sunday. You see me now, it's after 40 years. But I live in my own home. When you want to make sacrifices, there are times you're going to have to do without some things. You can't get the bling every week. You can't get the new shoes every week. You can't go to the hairdresser every week. You might have to take, they call my hairstyle under this wig, the power, but I like it. So in the week, you will see me with the power look. On Sundays, you see me in a nef. Anyway. Sometimes you may have to do the power look. Right? Until things get better. The whole thing is God is in control of your life. And many women, young women, you want a good husband, but you want to be disrespectful. And wait, not to the man, you start the disrespectful to your parents, your mother, your teacher. If you train yourself to be that way, when you get married, you're going to do the same thing. And vice versa, amen? Some young men don't know how to speak to their mother. And the teachers, they want to fight them. When you get a woman, you're going to box her and beat her and kick her too. Oh, no, it's practical living. People don't reach where they reach, just so you know. People who real bad, they didn't reach. You see the little 2-year-olds who you're allowed to slap you up? When they reach 12, they will still want to slap you. You have to correct them at 2. Oh, they're too nice. You do it. Up to, we were driving yesterday, Pastor Worth, and I was saying, when you reach my age, in your 60s, you see all that you did before? All right, let me talk about the eating. I will start there. You see all the things you used to take and you eat all kind of thing? When you reach 60, don't try it, You're getting sick. You see all the time you used to waste when you're young? When you get older and nobody wants to look out for you again and you have no home and you have to live by so-and-so and live by so-and-so and live by so-and-so. You do those things when you're young, when you're strong. Long time when we in ministry, here now, we go to church Sunday morning, we go to thing open here 4 o'clock, and you come back in church for evening service. In the week is women's group, is midweek service, is this, is that. When you see I reach home today, I have to take a little rest to come back to the graduation this evening, right? Because I'm not that young again. So all these things in life, it's preparation for when you get older. Attitudes. Some young people, they can't talk to this one, you can't talk to that one. You go to school, you do the same thing. You go to your job, nobody could talk to you. And you come in the church and you do the same thing. I used to have an employee, I worked in a construction firm. And my boss, Mr. Fong, he'd say, Michelle, did you call so-and-so? Yes, Mr. Fong. And I said, well, he was not there. And you know what he meant? I'm supposed to follow up until the job is accomplished. That is when you're committed to see the work done from beginning to end. And I just went aside to tell you about preparation. Anyway, Esther was prepared. While Esther was getting herself organized, we live in a world where we have to remember in our own lives that we have an enemy. I think sometimes we forget that Satan is an enemy. We think, okay, he will bring us trouble today. He'll give us a little break. 2 weeks break, and then he come back next 2 weeks. No. Every single day he has a plan for you. So if you feel that you will pray today, and you see me, I will pray today. I go pray next week. Satan has a plan. I don't care whether you're the preacher or you're the member in the church. Satan has a plan for you. But God has a bigger plan. So what you have to do is make sure you're following God's will for your life. So when the enemy comes, he will do what he has to do, but your God is in control of your life. And that is how you have to live. So Satan had a plan, and Satan always has people willing to be used by him. And he decided that he will get rid of the Jews. So this goodly man that the king raised up, Haman, he decided that because the king raised him up, Mordecai, which is Esther's uncle or cousin or whatever, he didn't used to bow, but Mordecai, the Jews, they knew that there was only one person they bowed to, and that is their God. And this man got very angry, and he decided that he would get the king to organize to get rid of the Jews. Now Esther is within the king's palace, but she's still a Jew. So anything that happens to the Jews, even she will get it. You know, sometimes we live in a world where we feel, oh God, that girl, they kill her. Yes, that girl on the road is way up by Maryland side there, Santa Cruz, or somebody else. That is them, yes. No. Anything that goes on in our nation affects us. Anything. It mightn't be your family. But because we have an enemy, it's not just he wants to kill that girl down the road, you know. He wants to kill all of us. So we have to set ourselves in a place to pray, to seek God on behalf of our nation. And I want to encourage you. Yes, we went through the whole thing with COVID and whatever, but I think we have reached a stage now where we should get back into prayer. Get back into being in that place where God can speak to you for such a time as this. Who knows? You could have been born in 18 something, but you're here now. So this goodly man decided that he would try to get rid of the Jews, so he called. He, made it known and whatever. And Mordecai said, wow, if he's going to kill the Jews, I better let Esther know. So he gets the message on to Esther. And he told her, for if thou altogether holdest thy peace at this time, then shall there enlargement and deliverance arise to the Jews from another place. I like that. You know, sometimes some of us feel we are a whole bag of chips. We get a little education, we get a little title behind your name. You feel you have arrived. I don't know about you, but I have had 2 surgeries. You see, when you reach the hospital, I see kings get sick, kings die. Like the vagrants, they don't die. But anyway, I guess eventually they die. Not I guess, I know they die eventually. But the more God blesses you, is the more humble you become. Because you realize if God doesn't wake you up in the morning, you're not alive. You're dead. When you go to the hospital, you need blood, you don't care whether it's the, how do they call them, how they call this, the 1% or the 2% or the 10% giving it. You want blood. So I want us to realize here today, at the end of the day, the more God bless you, is the more God puts you in a position to help. Let me tell you something in ministry. We were pastoring a church, second church, and somebody came and asked, Pastor, you could give me some money to buy a gas tank. We didn't have $15 to give them. And we were the pastors. You know what Pastor John told me? Somebody blessed me with a nice dress. I said, oh gosh, Chris, I can't wear that dress to church, boy. The people in church. He said, put on the dress. I said, no. You know, the people in church. Then he said, let them see how God bless you. He said, poverty is of God. I never forget that. He said, if you don't have, you can't give. You poor, I poor. But the thing is, how you use when God blesses you. The influence, the education, the money is to bless others, not to keep it to yourself. There's nothing wrong in getting rich. Because if a sister needs a rent paid for this month, somebody needs something, a pair of shoes, I could help them, but if I don't have, I can help you. So there's nothing wrong in getting blessed and having money, because you can bless others that are in need. That is what the blessing is all about. So this man allowed this blessing to go to, this position to go to his head. And he went to the king, and the king decided, the king heard a message that there were two people who were planning to assassinate him. And this man, Mordecai, which is Esther's cousin, was able to tell the message, and they got, those men were killed. So the king decided, here what? I'm going to call Haman, my second man. Boy, you know, what do you think I should do to the man whom the king, what the Bible says, who the king delighteth to honor? So Haman thought was him. So he said, King, give him the best robe. In Trinidad time, he would have had the best robe, the best car, the best house. Bless him in this way, bless him in that way. The king said, well, all right, well, you go ahead and do it. It's supposed to be done to Mordecai. The same man he didn't like all the time. You see, God? When God's hand is upon you, it doesn't matter who doesn't like you. God is, and he causes even the enemy to bless you. The Bible says that, Pastor usually say, your enemy have to stay alive to see the table spread before you. Because God, you see, people don't know the sacrifices you make, you know. They see you when you get blessed. They don't know the times you've done without. They don't know the amount of blessings you have given, the sacrifices that you have given when nobody knows what you did without to make sure somebody was blessed or the work of God was blessed. They don't see that. They see when you are blessed. And that is God's plan. So God blesses his people. He causes even sometimes the enemy to be the one to bless you. And so, you know, there was the banquet, and Esther was able to explain all that she wanted to explain of the plans of Haman, how he was going to kill the Jews. But the point I want to make today is when Esther got to find out that Mordecai was really distressed, and she heard what was happening, she said, I can't go into the king just like this. You are asking me to go to the king and to let him know the plans of Haman. But in those days, it's only if the king calls you, you can go to his palace. The king didn't call her. She says, I want you to pray. Some of us underestimate prayer. Some people like to tell me, but Sister John, I can't pray like you. You don't have to pray like me. Sometimes the only prayer I know is Jesus. Sometimes you're going through some things, all you could say is Jesus. And that is enough. You don't have to use no big words and no. You don't have to say, my Heavenly Father. When you're a child in hospital, or you need money, the bank calling on you, and the bank calls, you miss a day. You know, you say, Heavenly Father, oh, Jesus, help, I need this money today. You don't have to pray like me. Just pray genuinely and in faith. She said here what? My mates and I, we are going to spend 3 days in prayer and fasting. I want you to pray too. Because I'm going into the king and I don't know what will happen. The right thing is for the king to call me. He hasn't called me. So I am taking a risk going there. But when I look at the situations that surround me, I have made up my mind to make the sacrifice. And I am going. And if I perish, I perish. Many of us don't know that when it comes to serving God. We know to serve God in the good times, when everything is nice, when you could claim it and you get it. I stayed 12 years to have my son. Pastor John laid hands on people and they get pregnant before me. I had to attend the showers, baby showers. I had to be, young ladies, I taught in Sunday school, got big, got married, had children before me. And all I have, and I remember one day I got a little vexed with God. I said, God, no, you see me, I'm a very practical Christian person. I said, God, I thought that by 30, I would have all my children. I said, God, I'm very disappointed in you. I said, God, but this, I take a little breath here now, but I didn't stay so long. With the same breath I say, Father, if I'm flying in your face, forgive me. You see, from today, if you bless me, I praise you. If you don't bless me, I still praise you.
You've just viewed a sermon from Covenant House of Praise. If you're ever in our area, feel free to visit us at one of our 6 locations. Stay connected with us online. Connect with us on any of our social media channels, where we'll keep you up to date with what's happening in the ministry and share daily posts, pictures, and videos from recent services and events. Like us on Facebook at Covenant House of Praise. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at CHO Praise TT. And watch us on YouTube at CHO Praise TT.